whether it's North American region or Asian Pacific or any other region in the world. So, well, this was one of my projects, and Mr. Said Mirza was a project supervisor in McGill University. I did that project back in 2017. I tried to invite my project supervisor as well. But since it's quite a morning out here, it's 5 a.m. in the morning Montreal time. So I thought that it's not a good idea to disturb them. But let me give you a brief introduction about this supervisor. He is an emeritus professor at McGill University, and he has a degree in civil engineering, PhD, and he's a professional engineer as well. Area of expertise are structural engineering and rehabilitation of infrastructure. So, well, this one is just a base, introduction towards the sustainability. So once we are done with the presentation, we will try to ask questions related to the field expert. I mean, the field, what these guys are doing, because we have a couple of other people joining in from other countries as well. So we will try to take them into the discussion as well. So let us start and go on this presentation. So I have just tried to categorize my presentation. So these are the contents that I'm going to follow. So why green idea is important? I will start from the basics from there, and we will try to move on to the sustainable development and how it is linked to the green environment. And what's the world current ranking based on the environmental protection? And what are the possible solutions for the failures that we have been following so far in the world related to the environmental health protection? And what are those countries, actually, which are those countries who are helping us to improve the environment? At the end, we will try to little bit focus on civil engineering side, and I will try to give you the best examples that we have around the world for green buildings. But it doesn't matter whether you are joining us from electrical engineering field or mechanical engineering, because I do know that there are a couple of people who are not from the civil engineering domain, but they will be more interested to know once we get to this section as well. All right, so why green idea is important? So let us start from the scratch, sustainability. What is sustainability? It's actually just the utilization of resources that are available in the earth with the consideration without compromising the needs of our future generation. Meaning to that, so you have to use the fuel, crude oil, anything, any fossil fuel, any energy that is available in the earth, keeping in mind that we, our future generation is still having to use those resources that are available maybe after 2, 3, or 4 decades. So how it is linked with the green idea, let me try to explain that. So green idea, why is important? Green idea is important because we have to reduce the carbon footprint from the environment. So carbon footprint, it is actually all the greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide that is being released into the atmosphere because of our activities, including, you drive a vehicle, you use transportation, you use different forms of vehicles, and we realize that the exhaust that is being, the generation of the pollution from the exhaust of vehicles create greenhouse gases, and it goes to the environment, which creates the carbon footprint. So similarly, this thing affects our ozone layer. So the depletion of ozone layer, which is taking place from the past few decades, has been enormous. So we have to take care of all the depletions that are being created by the human activity. But let me tell you a really good news out here, which is if we try to control this carbon dioxide emission, we can really control the depletion of ozone. So let us see how we can control that, because the thing here is the sustainability, which is one of the solutions towards controlling the depletion of ozone layer. And this thing is being linked with all the fields that that we have right now, around the world. So let us see. So the basic purpose is to reduce carbon footprint. As I told you earlier, these are being generated from the fossil fuels and industrial sector primarily. And the second thing I would say is we have to save the erosion taking place in northern part of the world, resulting from the warming temperature at a global scale. Permafrost. Maybe some of you are not aware of this permafrost. So let me try to explain it. It is actually the the ground, the ground under the land gets frozen. It is usually in a period of 2 years in a straight length. So if it stays there for a period of 2 years, it takes the form of a permafrost. But because of the reason that the global scale, increase in the temperature at a global scale, this permafrost is actually melting right now. So we have to take care of that because it is releasing a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere from the north and south pole of our planet. And of course, devastating effects of climate change, everybody knows about that. So there is no need to discuss about this thing at this moment, I guess. So yes, and this is important because we have to ensure the food, water, and energy security for everybody around the world. So let us see how we can gather these things with sustainability. And we have to, of course, as I explained you earlier about the sustainability, we have to be sure about what will be the requirements of our future generations and how we are going to meet it in the coming decades. So how sustainability is linked to the green environment? It's a very important question. Sustainability is actually linked to the green environment, and there has been a global debate on this topic. And right now, this is a kind of, I will say, a novel topic at this moment, but still, we are learning at this stage, I would say. But back in January 2016, United Nations came up with the idea of 17 goals. So these are the 17 goals of sustainability that they gave to all the nations around the world, whether they are developed nation or whether they are underdeveloped. So they have to do and maintain these things by 2030. So if they do that thing, they will be on the right track of sustainability. So let us say we are in 2020 at this moment, 10 years behind our target. So how many of you think that in your countries from where you are joining, there is no poverty? I don't think so. There is any country in the world which has uh, catered the poverty at 100%. It's not possible, I guess. Or we can do that, but the thing here is to focus on the resources in a manageable way. But we are not doing at this moment. So again, look at the zero hunger, not possible. So similarly, all the other things here actually demands us to think and positively about this concept of sustainability. Let us see how we can consider these 17 goals. So this is the world ranking based on the environmental protection. So this is done by the Conference Board of Canada. It's a kind of a report card that is being generated by Conference Board of Canada around for the countries around the world based on their environmental protection. So if you see on the right side of this uh, PowerPoint slide, you will realize that this ranking is done based on the air and water quality in the country, biodiversity and conservation, natural resource management, climate change, energy efficiency. All right, let us see here what is happening. So Switzerland is actually topping the chart with the A grade, and I will try to explain why it is why they are getting A grades consistently, in the years, starting 2015 and now on as well. So, but the thing which is most alarming for the developed nation is, see, look around here, Canada is on number 18, and it has been awarded a D grade. So we see that developed countries are actually lagging behind. They are lagging behind most of the things in sustainability, aspect, because we don't really care about this stream. So let us see what has happened in the past, why we got this D grade, and what is happening with the Asian countries. So there is one other dilemma out here that I would like to uh, explain you guys, because you see that most of these countries are either from Europe or from North America, but hardly you see any Asian country out there. So to my understanding, because most of the Asian countries have either failed to make up to this report card, because they are either below D negative, or they even don't consider the sustainability issue at all. So this is very devastating. All right, so what happened afterwards? starting 2008. So, well, this is just an example of a country, so that to let you guys know how they are working on this greenhouse gas, productions and all those stuff. Back in 2008 and early, I guess 2000, there was a boom of infrastructure development in Canada. So this region is for Canadian specifically, but you can take this graph for any region from the website of Conference Board of Canada. So they have all the charts available for each region, so you can take it for your country and realize that where you stand. So 2008, you see that there was a surge in this curve at that moment. And after 2009, people started realizing the fact of sustainability. So this graph is a huge explanation of sustainability, how people and how expert scientists tried to cope with the situation back in 2009, and they tried to streamline the process. However, I would like to say at this moment, this is 20 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per capita, which is again an enormous amount, but they have tried to, streamline it. And in the coming years, this might go down, but it can go, up as well, because of the huge infrastructural developments in Canada that we are doing on a daily basis. So let's see how you can reduce the carbon dioxide footprint. So first and the foremost is to develop your wastewater treatment facilities really, really well. See here, again, this is a wastewater treatment report card, and you can see on the far left side, Netherlands got A grade in the wastewater treatment. What does it mean? This means that Netherlands has the best facilities of wastewater treatment around the world. So we should start learning from what they are using in their wastewater treatment, and what the other nations, what the other countries can do from their experience of, after they see the experience of Netherlands. And then going to the far right side, you see the other countries are there. And again, very, very disappointing not to see any Asian country in this chart, again with the same reason. So this was a chart. This chart was being made with a research collaborated effort between the Conference Board of Canada, Environment and Climate Change Canada, and the Yale University in the United States. So Canada again got, I would say, in between B or C. I would say let's make it B grade on this chart, which is just an average grade, I would say, but it would have been better. But they are trying their best to make this happen towards A grade. But who knows what will happen in the coming years? But we can predict with 100%, not with 100% accuracy, but we can try to predict it at least 80% what we'll be trying to do in the coming years about the wastewater treatment. So what happened? Why Canada was listed as one of the worst environmental polluted country? What happened? So see, this CDI, which is one of the agencies which gives the ranking to different 27 wealthiest nations around the world, states in a Washington Accord that was made back in November 2013. So what happened? Let me try to show you the CDI chart. We will try to understand it from there. So CDI chart states, so these are the countries which were actually being rated. And you see Sweden was topping the chart. What happened? Well, they took different scenarios, the aid, finance, technology, environment. So I'm just interested in this bar, what happened with us, why we are at a little bit down on this chart as well. So if I see Canadian region here, we see there is only 4.5% rating, 4.5 times rating in the environment. So one of the worst thing we can infer from this graph is that we are not doing really good in the environment. Well, don't worry about your country, because in the coming slides I will be discussing mostly about the Asian regions. So we will try to compare that thing as well. All right. So let us see what happened. Okay. All right. So Kyoto Protocols, which states that the climate change should be respected in every country. So Canada was dropped from that protocol because they were not respecting the greenhouse gas emissions at that point, and they got dropped from the CDI, charts of Kyoto Protocols back in 2013. Let me give you a quick example. Just see on your left side, what is it? This is an oil refinery facility and Skin Crude's oil upgrade facility that is located in north of Fort McMurray. Alberta. So what you see in this picture is a lot of pollution is going into the environment. No safety, nothing. Everything is going in the environment. They are not, even filtering the poisonous materials coming out of the chimneys you see here. So this is what is happening. That's why the Canada is, ranked as the one of the bad contributor towards the environment. So what happened after we realize all these aspects? What are the problems out there? So policy research. I apologize. Something happened. Let me try to. I apologize, guys. Sorry about that. So yeah, sustainability issue. What the agencies around the world try to figure out, so what we can do about the sustainability. So they came up with the idea of 7 different aspects of sustainability that is made by Policy Research Initiative, PRI. So they gave an idea of urban redesign. So it is not linked only with the civil engineers, architects. It is also linked with the urban planners. It is linked with the mechanical engineers. We will try to explain it and try to link it with all the fields around there. So we have to maintain the freshwater management, eco-region sustainability, impact of globalization in Canada. Not only in Canada, it is related to the world. Every country is under the same umbrella. Signals, incentives, unsustainability, lifestyles, poverty, and sustainable development. So if you see, these 7 aspects are actually linked up with the 17 goals of sustainability that I showed you in the starting of my presentation by United Nations. So they showed us this thing with the 7 streams of different aspects by 2030. So if we try to figure out how we are going to go about these 7 aspects, we will be one of the best, or I would say one of among those countries which will be best, considered in the sustainability. Let us see how we can do that. Okay, so possible solutions. As of now, we just, as up till now, I would say, we have devised the problems what the, different countries are facing. But the thing here is, what is important here is the solutions to those problems. I mean, it's not only the problems that we are seeing here, but there are solutions being provided. Let us say the first one, which is the idea of using a green building concepts. So green buildings being utilized in most of the, uh, northern countries specifically, but Asian countries as well. I will try to give you examples on that. So we can also limit the land use and land covers. Limiting the land use mean here that we can try to, use some innovative ideas to grow the crops rather than doing the, horizontal uh, harvesting. We have lots of crops out there, so we can try to eliminate that horizontal harvesting. We can try to do that in vertical format. I will try to explain it with an example coming up in the next slides. And we can then address the climate change by using all those concepts. So if we are addressing the climate change using our concepts of sustainability, so what we are doing, we are actually protecting the nature. We are trying to put everybody into the same umbrella. We are trying to increase the air quality. We are trying to manage the systems, considering the aspects of climate only. So last thing I would say is the smart use of transportation. The thing here is that if transportation is one of the most important things, because we commute on the daily basis, so we have to utilize uh, all form of transport. So no matter you go by bus, you go by your car, you go by your bikes or whatnot, you have to respect the conditions of smart transportation. Smart transportation, considering the example of hybrid cars, which generates very less, air pollution because it's a battery operated cars. So we can go ahead and take care of that as well in the coming slides. I apologize, guys. If somebody is not on mute, please go ahead and put yourself on mute. That would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So let's say what are the implementations of this green building concept across the world. So once we start, implementing the green building concept, what we will do, we will significantly decrease the operational cost after construction. One thing that we have to understand, this is equal for all the fields, is that initial cost of building, designing the green building is really, really high, because it's not a normal material that we utilize in green buildings. They are uh, special materials. they are recycled materials, and they have to be really pricey. But after after the building completes the first 5 cycles or a 10-year cycle, you will start earning on that building as well. So it's a good idea to go ahead and think about this concept. So secondly, use of energy efficient system material require less capital. So energy efficient systems, for example, solar panels. So if you are using a solar panel on the buildings, so you don't need to really use the power given by your power agencies. So you can also reduce the greenhouse gas emissions in the production sector. So greenhouse buildings, green buildings was being conceived. This idea was conceived by most of the countries, including Asian Pacific. Canada, you can see Germany, Taiwan, Turkey, India, and most of the other countries you can see in this presentation are actually trying to build more and more green buildings. But Canada is fortunately topping the chart, and they have currently going on 2,586 projects related to the green buildings. However, other countries are also doing great, and they are on the track. All right, so guys, any guesses which is the greenest country in the world? Any guesses? All right, so well, don't worry about that. It's obviously goes without saying it's Switzerland, because I remember I told you in the start that Switzerland was given A grade because of some specific reasons. So now this is the time to explain why Switzerland is given A grade. So let us see. This is this. If you can see from this picture, I mean, anybody can realize that. To be honest with you guys, it's not an edited picture. It is actually a natural picture being taken by National Geographic Channel, and you see that how better is the air quality. See the water flowing in the canal, how fresh it looks like, how clear it is, no pollution, nothing. So this is the reason, these are the reason why the Switzerland is topping the chart. So this EPI results are being compiled considering the fact of air quality, water and sanitation, heavy metals, biodiversity, forest fishery, air pollution, all those stuff. All right, let me try to show you one really quick thing out here, which is really important to understand in this sustainability concept, which is the Paris, Agreement. Paris Agreement. Okay, what's going to happen here? All right. Well, the Paris Agreement, to be just to be sure, is actually it's a kind of agreement being made between different nations of the world. Almost every country is a signatory of this Paris Agreement, which states that we have to limit, we have to cap the increase in the global temperature by 2 degrees in the coming years. And in the subsequent years, once we reach this 2 degree, cutoff, we have to reduce it to 1.5. So Switzerland is one of the most, one of the most, one of those countries, I would say, which is respecting those guidelines, and so do the other countries. So let me see if I can show you some EPI indices on different countries, so we will kind of more better to understand it. So 2018 EPI, Environmental Performance Index. All right, guys, see, Switzerland is on the top of the chart with 87% environmental performance, index.
It is not shared on the screen.
It's not coming on your screen, I'm sorry?
Yes. ये chart.
Oh, okay. Let me see, because it's looks like it is being shared from my screen, but let me see. All right, can you guys see the presentation now?
Yes, presentation is seen.
Okay. And now, do you see the chart now?
No.
Okay.
Stop sharing the screen first, then share the chart.
Okay. Okay. Maybe that might be possible. Okay. All right. Now, what about now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you, Bilal, for letting me know this thing. All right, so Switzerland. See, Switzerland is again topping this chart, 87% environmental performance index. That is enormous. That means this country is, reaching the top. It might reach up to somewhere 90% and above in the coming years. Let us see where does we stand. Okay, let me see where is Pakistan at this moment. So I just, try to find it. Uh, Let me see. Yes, I just checked in. It was somewhere around 160. Or yeah, here you see Pakistan is 169th number, 37% health performance. Why it's like that? Because we are giving less importance to sustainability. So if we try to improve our air quality, if we try to make more sustainable projects, so this can be increased. Similarly, for other countries, you can just go to the website of EPI and check. For your case, India, if anybody is joining us from India, it's on 177 number, and Bangladesh is 179, the Burundi 180, which is the last, unfortunately at this moment 27% only. All right, so let me try to share the screen one more time. All right, so I hope everybody sees the presentation
Yes,
now, right?
yes.
Okay, so let us start. Hmm. All right, guys. Looks like computer froze. Something happened. Lots of things going on at the same moment. Just give me a quick moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, just give me a moment, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, guys. The computer froze on me. Seems like maybe we are changing the screens again and again, so the computer froze on me. Just give me a quick moment. Just take a break, like for like 2-3 minutes. I will just fix it up, and I will be right back with you. Okay. Guys, seems like I just need to reboot my system. I apologize for that. Something happened. Bilal, is it possible we can take a break like for 5 minutes and we will be right back?
Yes, yes, of course.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We will be waiting here for you, Manal. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That are taking part, it's the, I guess, third last part of my presentation. So there are a couple of countries from Asian region. Now I am just focusing on the Asian region at this moment because they are most vulnerable to the environment. And let us see countries which are taking part in making healthy environment. Bangladesh, number one, IUCN projects. IUCN has done many projects, in different Asian countries. So Bangladesh is one of the those countries which might be struggling with the environmental concept. So the project title was Technical Study for Land Use Mapping, Assessment and Monitoring of Proposed Afforestation and Reforestation Sites. So, what was the project background? This was considered a green project because they were trying to, either use the same kind of forest to rebuild it and try to increase the, number of trees in their countries, which might be able to give better air quality to the people in not only in Bangladesh but the region which is surrounded by the umbrella, of Bangladesh as well. China, how we can forget about this country because it's the most populous country in the world, having population around about 1.4 billion. Uh, so China actually joined this IUCN as a state member in '96. Then they, established their offices in 2003 in China. So a couple of projects being done by IUCN in China, which was a green project. This one was an eye-catching because the duration of this project took from 2013 to 2016. But the thing here is that although China is a developed country, but you will be stunned, you will be, astonished to know that 83% of the surface water in China and 28% of the groundwater in China does not meet the national standards being set by this IUCN. So what they did, they tried to portray some kind of a project which can make them get fresh waters. They try to increase the reservoirs in the upstreams on different dam locations, and this was done in 30 Chinese mega cities, and that was through the upstream water source protection and as a blueprint for current and future development options for China urban growth. So not only in this country, but in this era at this moment, I would say they are also looking to help their future uh, generation as well. So this is the sole concept of sustainable development. If you are doing any project which is considered a green project, and it has no aftermaths of what will happen, what are the positive aspects of those projects in the coming years, you are not doing it considering the fact of sustainability. You are just doing it as a green project. So there is a difference between a green project and a sustainable project. Green project is actually only take care of the present situation at this moment, no matter it utilizes the recycled material, whatever is there, but it is only for the current era. It does not take care of the future generations. So we have to be careful about sustainability, not only the green thing at this moment. India, the second most populous country in the world, also took care by IUCN, and we all know that India is, facing little bit hardships about poverty and shelter, water, and many other, such kind of things, which is unfortunate. But IUCN came up with the idea to provide them with, better adaptation towards the environment, and they documented the nature-based solutions for climate change adaptation and planning, and they also did the enhancement of community-based adaptation. So what they did actually, they just tried to build some shelter which were considered green shelters because they were based on either the facility closer to the forests or either to the facility closer to the natural environment, so that the people try to live in those areas, and they try to make themselves adjusted towards the environment. So considering this fact, I mean, let us take this example of India. Why not in any other country, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and no matter you are from United States, we can also try to do that in our countries. Why not? I mean, try to build up these shelters, try to put the homeless people inside those shelters, which will, may circulate around the countries. Given the climatic conditions, I mean, not all the countries might be feasible to use it because they have harsh climates. But most of the countries in Asian Pacific, I would say, they might be able to get, really good deal from that projects. Pakistan. So most of the people who are joining us from Pakistan already know about this sustainable transit projects being done. So it is also an initiative by IUCN. You guys must have used those metro bus system in Lahore and Orange Line metro train project that has been, I guess it's running at this moment. And there is another project in Peshawar, sustainable rapid transit system. So these all projects are actually sustainable because they try to limit the use of vehicles and try to promote the people to use this facility so that there is less pollution, less carbon dioxide being generated. So 2013 to 2017, we were, making up these projects with IUCN. So I think the consequences of these projects are a little bit less than what was expected because most of the people don't try to use this, transportation. They try to prefer their vehicles or kind of communications around the cities. But I would highly recommend you guys, I mean, who are living in Pakistan at this moment, to use these, transportation, because this will help us, Pakistan, to better develop an environment which is free of air pollution and best in air quality. Let us see some great examples of green building. So, if anybody is from mechanical engineering, I know some people are from mechanical engineering domain. This might be of interesting factor for you guys and electrical engineers out there. If there is one joining us today, you might be also really, interested in knowing the effects of these buildings. It's not only for civil engineers nor architects, urban planners. It is for everybody. All right, let us see what does a green building look like. It is actually as simple as you see at the back. It's not actually green. The idea is green because you see that most of the building parts and the landscapes out here is green because it's a wetland concept being done at this moment. So why it is a green building? Let's see. And yeah, before I forget it, this building is considered to be one of the most, one of the, I guess, best platinum rated LEED standard building. It has a rating of more than 80. So it's called the Bioscience Research Building, and you can find it in Galway, Ireland. So this building has innovative design idea. I will try to explain it why. It's an innovative design. So it also has research laboratory running high intensity equipments. Corridors around the laboratories act as thermal surveyors. Okay, so what happened in this building? They have utilized the concept of open flooring. Open flooring, to all those who don't know, is actually a kind of a big hall. Convention centers you might have visited, they are based on open flooring, so they don't have any partitions in between. So why it is helpful to have open flooring concept rather than partition concept? Because of the reduction in cooling loads for heat, ventilation, and air conditioning. So mechanical engineers out there might know this thing really well, because our primary goal to design any HVAC is to reduce the building cooling loads. So if we are, making HVAC system which has enormous amount of tonnage, it's not a good building. It's not a good design, I guess. But since I am not very well expert in the mechanical side, so I would say, to my understanding, we have to limit the cooling loads to lesser tonnage as far as possible. And what they have done is they have utilized the proper insulation around the building, so that you know the heat coming from outside, the sun rays and all those radiations coming from outside the building does not enter the building. It also helps the HVAC of the building to stay streamlined, not to fluctuate in between. Sometime if there is, let's say there is a noon time, which is considered to be one of the you know uh, most hot time around the day. So the cooling load increases because you have to maintain the temperature inside the building. But because of these insulations, there is nothing like that. So they have also used the glazed windows. So glazed windows actually a concept of albedo, that most of the radiations are being reflected back into the environment. And this is the case out here in this building. And this one is very important. I mean, this is, to be honest with you guys, this building is using all the resources which are natural. There is no man-made thing in this building. It is called Exploratorium at Pier 15, San Francisco, California, United States. So consider this thing, the reservoir underneath. This is actually a rainwater. They are collecting this rainwater, and they are utilizing this water back in the pipes, which circulates around the building. See this one, which circulates around the building to maintain the temperature inside the building. So it is one of the natural thing. Secondly, on the top of the building, I apologize, we don't have the plan view of this building, but if we look from the top view of this building, like the plan, we will realize that there is a solar panel being installed for generating the electricity for the building. Second sustainable idea. So why not we try to go ahead and do that in our buildings in any country that you are coming from? We can do that. It's not that difficult thing to do, I guess. So this one is the vertical farming concept. Remember in the start I told you guys about the limit the use of horizontal agriculture, and try to utilize it as a vertical concept. So this is a building in Mexico, if you see on your right. So this building has a green concept everywhere. So what they are doing, they are using this building for multi-purpose. First, they are building up the crops. You see that these things are crops. And secondly, they are also making a habitat for animals. You see the giraffes and the birds are circulating around the buildings. The birds are circulating and the giraffes are sitting on the balconies and just enjoying the view out there. So it's very important for them. And if you see closely, there is a window and the people are standing out there. So it's an office building basically. So three concepts done in one building, and lots of savings, because it's minimum input, maximum output, low energy usage, because you really don't need to do anything. The cooling loads will be drastically reduced because of these crops being grown, because they absorb most of the sunlight and radiations coming from outside. And you really don't need to use transfer the crops from one part of the city to the other part, because buildings are usually built in either in the central part of the city. So it's very easy for us to transfer it to the suppliers so that they can bring to the market and they can do and sell their crops as well. And you can try to crop as much as you want. There is a really wide range. And to be honest, I just uh, was checking one of the other researches done in Japan. They are actually growing the medicines in their building, again using the same concept, vertical building. So that building is used for medical purpose plus office work plus this uh, green concept as well. This one is my own project. We did that back in 2015. So because I was interested in this sustainability starting, I guess, 2015, when I was introduced to this concept, and it is still a new novel idea for me. I'm still learning this concept. But we, along with my other 24 colleagues, we designed this building, and it's was based on LEED rating 84. So for all those who are not aware of this, LEED is actually leadership in energy and environmental design. It's a US-based company that was established back in '93, and it gives the criteria for designing and maintaining the buildings as far as the sustainability is concerned. So this building is multifunctional because we have ground and first floor to serve as a shopping mall, and then top floor as an art gallery, conference rooms, and exhibition center, basement and parking and all those stuff. Green roof. You see here, this is a petal-like shape, so it's a flower shape. Basically, the concept was being conceived by the flower pattern, and you see here this green thing is actually a wetland, farming out there. So we were actually using this building to farm the crops, to have a shopping malls, to have entertainment facilities. And again, albedo effect came into play here because most of the radiations are being reflected by these sunroofs, because it was capturing the rays, directing it towards inside the building. This plan you can see here. So inside the building in the morning, in the daylight, we were actually trying to use the sunlight to illuminate the building inside, and that was actually reducing lots of electricity usage as well. So these were actually the convex mirrors. So the physics behind the convex mirrors. I guess let's not get there because it's not the scope of this presentation. So, guys, what are the lessons learned for future sustainability development? So, I would suggest this thing based on my policy research, initiative concept that we, maintain in the start. So, we have to introduce some kind of innovative design to reduce the HVAC loads. This is for mechanical engineers. So, we have to utilize some kind of new concept so that we can reduce, heat, ventilation, air conditioning loads for the buildings. And then for agriculturists, environmentalists, this one is for you, I guess, because rather than using horizontal agriculture, we can use a vertical farms. We can try to promote the use of vertical buildings. So not only environmentalists, agriculturists, but architects, civil engineers, urban planners, we all will be working together. It creates the job opportunity as well, and creates a lots of opportunity as sustainability is concerned. And this one, I would say we have to use the rain and storm water in the best way possible. Most of the countries, Asian countries, the rainwater, we don't take care of that, because once the rain is coming, we know we can predict floodings, when there will be flood expected in the country. We don't take care of that. It usually goes either into the conduits, into the stormwater drainage, or either it starts to ruin the life of the villagers, because they don't have any idea how to conserve it. So we should build out, remember San Francisco building, how they are utilizing it in a really great manner. They have built a reservoir, they are taking up all the water in the reservoir, and they are using that thing to cool up their buildings. So it's a great idea, it's a wicked idea, I guess. And you can also use a smart form of transportation. So I am glad that my country, Pakistan, they are doing really good in transportation, because we have sustainable transportation. And many other countries, including Bangladesh, including India, and other countries in around the world, they are very well doing in this I guess stream of transportation, I guess. So they are doing really great out there. And this one, agriculturists, why don't we go ahead and utilize the concept of organic foods, rather than making and taking out the crops and going to the market, buying crops and spending a lot of expenditures without anything. You can just have a loan at in your facility, in your houses back. There is a small you can build up a lawn for yourself. Try to build up the crops there. Your family size, how much you need. You can grow tomatoes, you can grow potatoes. I have seen many people in Canada, they do that, and it's kind of organic farming. They don't need to go to the grocery stores, they don't need to buy anything. But this thing concept is, I guess, a novel concept for the countries in the Asia, I guess. But we can try to do that. It's not a big thing, I guess. So lastly, I would say, if we disturb the nature, there is a revert on that. The nature will disturb us. See, we all are just meeting up virtually at this moment because of the coronavirus. Isn't it because we disturb the nature? We try to disturb the habitat of the animals, and they try to uh, give us a rebuttal. So that's what is happening around the world right now. And to be honest with you guys, there are millions of other viruses being realized in the other parts of the world, which will be coming in the near future. I don't want to make you really concerned about this fact, but this is true. But if we don't start working on this right now, we will gonna lose it. Not us, but our future generations as well. So thank you very much. You have been absolutely great audience to listen up to me, and they didn't disturb me. But the thing here is